Welcome to Acton in Focus. I'm Vivian Kopsinger-Birchall, your host, and my special guest is Julie Pierce, the Director for Economic Development at the town of Acton. Julie, welcome.
Thank you.
I think I've been out of practice that I'm messing everything up, but it's very exciting to have you here. I haven't had you here for quite a while, and a lot has been going on in the town. But maybe for the interest of those who might be new to the town, who don't really know what the Economic Development Office does, could you please tell us a little bit more about your work, your role, and how people can find the director?
Sure. Thank you for having me. So economic development for a town means two things. One is working directly with the businesses to help them navigate the regulations, permitting processes, answering questions. So that's the public facing part. The behind the scenes part is work that helps build or expand the capacity of our infrastructure that would help our town be attractive to businesses and be a town that a business could come to and grow in.
Could you explain to us what are some of the key highlights of economic development for the town, at least in this past year?
Sure. So I have two projects I'm really excited about that I just finished and one that's upcoming. So the first one that people can see here is the How to Do Business in Acton guide. So this project came from just the reality that a lot of business owners struggle with navigating how to get started, who to ask questions to. And so I worked with MAPC, which is a quasi-government organization that provides technical assistance to towns, cities, so on and so forth. And they helped me do outreach with the business community, learn about their concerns, learn about their pain points, and really outline how to get started and how to expand in Acton. And so we have printed copies, but also this guide lives online and will be continually updated if things change. But that's one big project that I'm really excited about, to provide that resource to local businesses.
And before you go to the next project, what is MAPC, for the benefit of those who don't understand the acronym?
Sure. So MAPC stands for the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. And so they help cities and towns with projects like this. They help also with projects related to shaping zoning, any kind of project that you have in your town. It could be transportation related, anything that you have, they can provide technical experts to help you for that particular project, where maybe it's a one-off project that a town wouldn't want to hire a permanent person for.
All right, well, and what are the other projects you have?
Sure. So the second project that I just finished, but it's still an ongoing thing, is the Acton Business Directory. So this is a directory of the consumer-facing businesses that are in our town. It also lives on the town website, but basically it's exactly what it sounds like. But you can sort it by alphabet, you can sort it by type of business, and you can sort it by location in town. So West Acton versus South Acton and what have you. So it's really great resource for anybody who lives or works in town to find out what businesses, what entertainment, what's out there. But it also serves a behind the scenes purpose for the businesses, because by the town having what's called a website of authority, it lends credibility to those businesses in terms of their digital marketing efforts. So in other words, by them being mentioned on our site, it makes their business show up higher in search results.
Right. I mean, it's great that the town now has these resources. But I guess my question I would have for you is, over these past years, businesses have struggled in our town, and not to put you on the spot, but just to, if you could help us understand, what are some of the key factors that are really causing these challenges and struggles for businesses?
Sure. So I think one struggle that isn't as widely known is that there are businesses that are still struggling to recover from the pandemic. Some of the businesses took on debt, some of them severely cut back in staffing, so they're just now kind of getting back to where they were before. And not every business made it through, so that's one issue. Another issue is just the reality of the national economy with inflation. Things cost more. Whatever components that they would buy to sell, or whatever staff resources go into providing the services that they sell, things just cost more, but there isn't always room to raise their prices and remain profitable. So that's a really big struggle as well.
Yeah, naturally, we see, at least on social media, when people get frustrated, they resort to blaming the town. But I guess, and we don't often have the opportunity to hear from the town what challenges you as the town staff face in terms of supporting these businesses, because I think it's important for us to know. So are there any particular challenges you have, maybe it could be in terms of funding, and I'm not trying to put any words into your mouth, but would love to understand some of the inner struggles within the town hall or the town.
I would say one struggle is when you have a town, you have certain rules or processes maybe that were written in the past that don't keep pace with a changing environment. So one example is that maybe you have a business that wants to open and you have somebody who has their dream and their work, but maybe they provide two different types of services, or they do two different types of things. Acton zoning is based on use, so maybe there are locations that allow for one use but not the other. So it can be a struggle to find a location. That's something that I've seen, struggle to find a location where they can do all the uses that they desire. Another kind of struggle that comes up is as new types of companies or new industries develop compared to when when our infrastructure was built. Yeah. There's new types of businesses, say biotech companies or things like that, which on kind of a surface level glance, you might say, oh, that's great. That's the up and coming industry. That's who will come and invest a lot in our community. That's who will hire. But we don't always have the right, say, water infrastructure or wastewater infrastructure or large spaces or large buildings that those types of companies might want to come in. So that can be a struggle to match the interest with what's available and what kind of work they would have to do to make the space work for them.
And I will, I think, invite you back some other day to talk about specifically the businesses like biotech who need a very particular infrastructure, because I have a lot of questions regarding that area. But for today, we'll focus on some of the updates that we have, and especially since I hadn't, mentioned that before. But I guess one of the reasons I brought out all these challenges is for our community to understand that, it's not black and white, that there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to supporting local businesses in our town, be it funding or bylaws or laws like you pointed out. And I just wanted to, at this point, let the community know, those who didn't know, that you are an awardee you are recognized. Could you please tell us about that recognition?
Sure. So State Representative Cataldo nominated me for the Black Excellence on the Hill Award, which is put on every year by the Massachusetts Black and Latino Legislative Caucus. And it was a reflection really of the work that I've been doing and the fact that he hears from his constituents how much I've helped them. So it was a surprise to me that I was nominated, and really exciting, and something that I really appreciate and treasure.
I mean, you're worth every part of it, because I've watched you since you moved to this town. You do everything with a smile, with passion, dedication, and with the spirit to really support, and actually with empathy, because I think the way you meet the business owners, the community, it's full of empathy, and that's how I guess we learn how to collaborate and navigate these very complex challenges. So congratulations again on that award. And back to the programs for the town. What are some of the future endeavors that you have up your sleeve?
Sure. So I'll actually tell you about two things. So one is something I'm engaged in right now, and one is something I'm about to start. So the first one is the vacant storefront program. So we're talking about businesses coming to town. Another really huge and striking reality is that renovation, so if you're coming to rent a space or buy a space, it can be really expensive. And so someone can have a dream but then realize they don't have sufficient funds to come and fill a vacant storefront. And a lot of residents, you know, as you're driving around, you think, gosh, it would be nice if something went in there, or if something went in there. There are entrepreneurs also looking at those spaces and then getting discouraged or dissuaded by the amount of money that it would take to transform the space. So this is 3 years in the making, but in 2021 at town meeting, actually, town voters voted to set funds aside to support a vacant storefront program. So to support a program where the town provides funds to help a business fill one of these empty storefronts. Then the second part was creating a district. So analyzing vacancies in town, how long things have been empty, what kinds of businesses could go in there. This is targeted around first floor retail storefront space. So I went through that process and formed the district that got certified by the state. So that took about a year.
Yay!
And then the next part was a lot of outreach and trying to interact with aspiring entrepreneurs to help recruit a business to come. So our first business came, it's open now. It is the Salted Soul Cave, which is in the Acton Woods Plaza at the corner of Main Street and Great Road. So it's a great place, but that space was a space that had been vacant for a couple years. The entrepreneur put a ton of resources into renovating the space, and so it's this spa-like atmosphere that's focused around natural healing and around forming a community for that healing. So it's a really great space, and it's our first project. So the town back in 21, when they voted on this, set aside enough funds for 2 businesses. So now I'm back on the, on the search to see who else I can find to come to Acton. So that's an example of, it's a multi-year, very technical process to engage, and also as part of this program, so the businesses are supported with funds from the town, but they also get state tax credits.
So, which is great, because I was so curious. So is this money a loan, or it's just
a grant?
Money? Grant.
Yep. So from the town, it's a grant, and from the state, it's state tax credits.
Should I dare ask how much that grant is?
So the town voted to put aside $20,000 to help 2 businesses.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I've always wondered, what ways the town could support people with a vision, with a dream.
Right.
I personally have a dream. Okay. I mean, of having a community center. For our community. So it's, first of all, congratulations to the businesses, all of them, those that are supported by the town, those that are individual efforts. I think it's incredible that incredible things that they do, because they are also the backbone of our economy here locally. So to all the businesses out there, I just wanted to say we treasure you. We treasure your contribution to our GDP, and we'll support the best way we can. And to the community, of course, I think it's up to us to encourage these businesses by supporting them whenever we can.
Right.
That said, I would like to point about the social entrepreneurship. That's not something that often gets attention. For example, we as a community, I think, have struggled with the whole idea of having a community center that where people can go and have fun, can bond, can connect, youth can go have games. Is that something that could fall under the domain of the economic development. Because of its social nature,
Right.
I wasn't sure, and I just
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. I think currently the way the town is structured, that might fall more under, like human services or something of that nature. But also, I wanted to say that these different types of things, so for example, a community center wouldn't necessarily fit into the vacant storefront program, right? Because that's geared at first floor retail. However, there is a move right now in the state to revamp how some of these state tax credit programs work. So myself and a lot of economic development practitioners have been providing feedback to the state, and they've been looking at, okay, we have tax incentives to help businesses, but they're very geared towards, like I said, the first floor retail or somewhat industry specific, and also very tied to a certain type of space. Mm-hmm. So we've been providing feedback about, is there a way to take away some of that structure that's tied around a particular space or use, add more uses, add more types of spaces so that more people could be helped. So whether it's a social entrepreneur, or if you think about digitally based entrepreneurs, they're not going to have a large physical building and need, say, state tax credits or property tax credits, things like that. But they are a business that contributes to our community. They may have hires and things like that. So recognizing that industries change, new industries come, new ways of doing business that don't fit into the old structures. Right. So more to come.
Yeah, and of course, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot because I'm anticipating my audience right now, or our audience, the Kmart parcel. Can you tell us a little bit what's happening there?
Sure. So, so one of the things, I know lots of people, you drive by, especially right now, you see there's work going on there. That parcel is owned by Stop and Shop. So what they're working on now is putting a Stop and Shop in there with some smaller retail shops on either side. A lot of people ask, why not this? Why didn't they tear down the McDonald's building? Or, people have lots of questions. The reality is Stop and Shop has owned that parcel for a really long time. It already was, because there's no change in use, before it was a Kmart, but it's just changing from one large format retail outlet to a different branded retail outlet. So because there's no change in use, there's nothing that the town can do to say, we want you to do this on your property. In the same way that someone can't come to your house and tell you, we want you to knock down your deck or add a deck or something like that. Same type of concept.
Right. And then the other common question, and I really don't have a clear idea on whether it falls under your jurisdiction or planning, is the question around Kelly's Corner. When will it be completed?
So to answer the first question, it falls under planning's jurisdiction. But overall, the plan was for it to be about a 3-year project. If you go on the planning department's website, they actually have a webpage dedicated to Kelly's Corner, and you can see updates, you can see photos, you can see old photos, so that it's really clear how much has been done already. But they also have time frames up as well, so you can see what's going on.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because initially the vision for that Kelly's Corner project was for people to easily walk and support the businesses. And so it's kind of intertwined with economic development.
Right.
And so that's the only reason
right.
I brought it up. But is there anything that we really have not talked about?
So I would love to talk about my newest project. So when I first came to work for the town, I realized we have master planning documents, we have documents related to, say, conservation lands, and a lot of thoughtful work has gone into those master plans, but I realized there wasn't one for economic development. So what I did was I sought grant funding, successfully won a grant. And then I'm using those funds to hire a consultant, similar to how we hired MAPC to help produce the guide, but hire a consultant to help create the town's first long-term economic development strategic plan.
Yeah, even though you have a consultant like you're going to hire, are there certain key aspects you want to be addressed in that plan?
So one key aspect that I want to evaluate is looking at the town as a whole. What are our assets? Where are the areas that we could shine, whether it's, say, industry specific or maybe it's size of business specific, to really pinpoint where I should focus my recruitment efforts for bringing businesses in. So that's one thing. So rather than, sometimes, we hear sad stories or frustrating stories about, oh, this didn't work for me with the town. So it's like, okay, sure, there's things that can't work, but as sure as that exists, surely there are things that can work. And I want to focus on those positive things and have those parameters really laid out and clear. So that's one area. Another area is something that people don't realize is that a lot of the business owners in Acton are actually renters, but their relationship with their landlord or the types of properties, the infrastructure of those properties really makes a difference in terms of what businesses can come, how happy the businesses are here. So there's been different efforts throughout time in Acton to bring business owners in to get feedback, but this time I want to bring business owners and the property owners together so that we get both perspectives and understand where each one is coming from, and to see, are there opportunities there where the town could help or better target communications, or what else should we be doing? And then a third aspect is just reviewing some of these different bylaws. Where are there maybe unseen obstacles versus where is it just that it needs to be explained better?
Right. First of all, fantastic key points to focus on. And you mentioned the relationship between landlords and business owners. I just thought of a recently closed business, Ginger Court, and now the market, the Asian market is also closing. And that's been, a sad moment for that business because, many of us were cheering them on. But in terms of I'm losing my train of thought here, but in terms of that relationship between the business owners and landlords, is this process with the consultant also going to involve conversations with these groups, like focus group discussions about maybe not necessarily the existing ones, but just talking to landlords in general about what are the challenges that they face when it comes to renting out their properties for businesses, and in line with, of course, what challenges businesses face when they sign that lease, because they cannot anticipate some of the challenges that come. And what are the flexibilities or the possibilities for intervention from the town, from the state, from the community? Well, community maybe not so much, but
yeah, 100%. The goal is to have those conversations because I don't want to go in with any preconceived notions. I want to collect the data, find out the concerns, find out the challenges, and then from there we can figure out what the solutions are. But I want to go in with an open mind and really hear from them what's going on.
Right, and then I guess the last thing would be closely related, is that businesses, I think certain kinds of businesses are struggling. Would there be a process of analyzing what businesses thrive and what kind of businesses fail in Acton, just so to have that basic information to help with the planning process? So that if, for example, we find out that, okay, X type of business with X employers fails?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something we want to focus on, or should we stop trying to attract that kind of business because it doesn't have the market, and it doesn't? Because I mean, studying is not just the costs, and it's also understanding the market. You know.
Right. So I don't know that this particular plan will include that. I think that where the focus would more be on, you know, the business owners have to figure out, okay, what they want to sell or produce and think about, is there a market for that? I think where the town comes in is thinking about if there's an entrepreneur who they've done their work, they've perfected their product, they've figured out that there's a market, are there rules or processes that we have that are unnecessarily stifling that? So that's more where this work will lie.
Okay. Yeah. But I think one of the areas I would still advocate for in the future, not necessarily now, to consider is that, you know, just doing as a town, even just understanding your own town, to say, what is the market like for the businesses that we have here? What have been the observations? What are the trends? And so that if a business comes and say, hey, we want to do this, you say, great, but we just wanted you to know that there are businesses that have done this and this. Have you been able to look through those areas?
I like that idea of even if that information is compiled, then we could share it to folks before they get too far in their planning process. Right.
And then when something goes wrong, they at least would have given some guidance.
Right.
So where can people find a physical copy of the guide?
Sure. So you can pick up a physical copy of it at the planning department if you're coming in to do permits, or you can come to my office. I work in town hall in the town manager's office, so you can find me up there. But also you can find it online. So if you go to actonma.gov/business, that's the page where you can find all the information about what I'm working on, and both a link to the guide is there and also a link to the business directory is there.
And any message to any potential business owners for Acton and those existing business owners?
Right. My message would be, reach out to me. Let's talk about how you can get started. Let's talk about how you can expand. Let's talk about how I can help.
Short and sweet. And with that, I would like to say thank you for being my guest on Acton in Focus.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to more conversations and learning more about the progress of all the wonderful projects you have up your sleeve.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching this episode of Acton in Focus. Till next time.